maybe it does mean. Maybe it might.
Right.
Maybe it might.
This fight is so close, they're so closely knitted that you got to look for all the small pieces because the small things are what going to add up to somebody winning the fight.
And fight a guy who might put him in a dogfight, a real one, for the first time in his career.
When we get put in that position, we go find opposition to make that happen. You understand me? So when we go looking for the opposition, we're not concerned about how big they are, how fast they are, how strong they are. We feel like we got enough that we can bring to the table with anybody.
But skill for skill, as far as equality, to me, Bud and Canelo are equal because we're in their career.
The thing I like about Teo's style, I mean, when you have a guy like Shakur whose defense is that good, and he's not just a guy who's going to hug you, he can box, you know? The easiest thing in the world is just to pick him against everybody.
Right.
Yes.
But Teo also has the kind of footwork, Malik, where he steps around guys.
Roy Jones Jr. and Max Kellerman weigh in on a potential matchup between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez, focusing on the mentality that separates elite fighters from the rest. They stress that real champions don't shy away from challenges, no matter the opponent's size, status, or the dangers involved. Kellerman analyzes the stakes of the bout, pointing out that Stevenson would be under greater pressure, while Lopez stands to elevate his career significantly if he delivers a dominant performance on boxing's biggest stage.
Undefeated fighter. He's seen as the eventual pound-for-pound champ, potentially. But Teo has more to win. He has more to gain. So on the one hand, is there an advantage there where Shakur is fighting to protect that perfect record, to protect that kind of sense that he's the next guy? On the other hand, Teo is like he can fight with more abandon against Shakur because there's so much for him to gain. And if he loses, he's lost before. He's lost to Kambosos, and he came back from that. But oh my God, if he can pull it off. Like, if it's a close fight and Teo could keep it close and we're going into the 10th, 11th, 12th rounds, is there an advantage there, given that situation?
He came back from that Kambosos fight, but in some way, the jury is still out on Teo a little bit because I'm going to tell you why. On that card that was done in Times Square, he looked the best out of, with all due respect, out of a lot of people that didn't.
Roy Jones Jr. likens the matchup to a hypothetical Canelo-Terence Crawford clash, where both fighters carry comparable power. In contrast, a bout between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez would be determined almost entirely by technical ability, turning it into a high-level chess match rather than a battle of strength.
That's a good damn fight, too. See, that fight is skill for skill, as good as this fight. But they just haven't been around long enough to prove themselves yet. But skill for skill, as far as equality, to me, Bud and Canelo are equal because we're in their career. Because how accomplished they are. These two guys are also equal where they're in their career. Because they're accomplished, but not as accomplished as these two. But they're still equal accomplished. You understand me? So those are two good damn fights and what boxing.
Kellerman highlights Teofimo Lopez's footwork, pointing out his ability to glide around opponents, find effective angles, manage spacing, and evade danger through smart movement and strong ring IQ.
I just have to be honest with the way I see it. I don't think that was the best version of Teo by a long shot. But even then, he was rallying in that fight late. He has championship heart. And the thing I like about Teo's style, I mean, when you have a guy like Shakur whose defense is that good, and he's not just a guy who's going to hug you, he can box, you know? The easiest thing in the world is just to pick him against everybody.
Right. Yes.
But Teo also has the kind of footwork, Malik, where he steps around guys. And I think about Buddy McGirt, Meldrick Taylor.
Yes.
Roy, you know, where Meldrick had quick enough feet where if you were going to come right at Buddy McGirt, he could box you. But Meldrick could give him angles that were more difficult. I think of Roy.
Teofimo expresses confidence heading into the fight, emphasizing that success in boxing starts with mentality. He explains that his readiness comes from consistent training, sharp focus, discipline, and instincts developed through repetition.
Are you mentally prepared with the audience? Are you mentally going to be prepared with the certain punch selection There's things that I have to maintain as well. Those are things that I have to work on within myself. It's a muscle. Think of it like condiments, right? You got your ketchup, you got your mustard, you got all these type of condiments, but you don't know if you like it or not unless you try it. And I think the same thing applies when it comes to getting prepared for certain things like this. Pretty much you have to try different things, different steps, different routines, different ways to see what really fits and works for you. And if they all fit and work for you, when is the right time to apply them? And it's a muscle memory that you have to create now. If you don't create now, it can harm you the day of the fight. The mentality part of it is gonna really be the key moment for who wins that night. I'm that type of person, truly, that type of person that focuses on being.
Wade draws a comparison to MMA and the UFC, where fighters can suffer multiple losses yet still grow their brand by taking part in competitive, entertaining matchups. Those kinds of fights keep audiences engaged and build momentum. By stepping in with a top-tier opponent, Teofimo Lopez helps raise Shakur Stevenson's visibility, and the same holds true in reverse. Regardless of the outcome, both fighters emerge with greater recognition, opening the door to bigger opportunities down the line. Fans tune in because they know they're watching world-class athletes pushing each other at the highest level, making each contest impactful and worth the attention.
Right at that chest, it's coming, it's coming.
That was 9 rounds of sparring. I ain't gonna tell y'all the minutes, but yeah, I'm preparing to my fullest. I'm putting in a lot of work and getting ready. Sure.
Word.
Training with Shakur is amazing. A guy like me been knowing Shakur for over 10 years now. The boxing world know that we brothers and we'll never fight each other. And just being around him in his camp, man, it's nothing but positive energy. And everybody wanting to be great. He's like my big brother, man. Like, he is my big brother, honestly. You know, he got all the wisdom in the world, especially when it comes to defense. So he's just making sure I stay sharp on my defense and not getting hit.
Wade draws a comparison to MMA and the UFC, where fighters can suffer multiple losses yet still grow their brand by taking part in competitive, entertaining matchups. Those kinds of fights keep audiences engaged and build momentum. By stepping in with a top-tier opponent, Teofimo Lopez helps raise Shakur Stevenson's visibility, and the same holds true in reverse. Regardless of the outcome, both fighters emerge with greater recognition, opening the door to bigger opportunities down the line. Fans tune in because they know they're watching world-class athletes pushing each other at the highest level, making each contest impactful and worth the attention.
This is what people don't realize about making best versus best fights. For the most part, only good can come from this. I'm going to knock on wood when I say that because I don't want to have one of these fights where we get a stinker performance or anybody. But when the pressure is this high, when the stakes are this high and you get this kind of opportunity, it will compound interest, even sometimes for the loser as well. This is why you look at MMA and you look at the UFC and they have guys with 10 losses, 5 losses, 12. Some people that you would never think are going to compete for a championship, and maybe they don't even compete for a championship, but they're in interesting fights that people want to watch. Doing fights like this makes Teofimo Lopez, makes Shakur Stevenson a bigger name, and therefore, after this...
Sean Porter says with confidence that Shakur Stevenson will always be himself in the ring, pointing to both his consistency and his ability to surprise. On fight night, the outcome may be uncertain for either Stevenson or Teofimo Lopez, but one constant remains: Shakur brings his own rhythm, skill set, and competitive edge every time he competes. Porter looks back at Stevenson's most recent outing, explaining how he studied his opponent early, made adjustments, and gradually imposed control. Despite criticism labeling his style as evasive, Shakur chose to stand his ground more than expected, showing courage and tactical maturity. Even when it meant taking shots he didn't need to, that approach reflected confidence and discipline. According to Porter, those moments not only highlight Stevenson's ability but also help him connect with fans and grow his support.
I love that type of stuff because what Teo's saying is true. Like, for him to go to the next level in his career, and for Shakur as well, they need to be tested, and they have been, especially Teo. Teo's taken some tough fights. He's beaten Vasily Lomachenko, beaten Josh Taylor, beaten Arnold Barboza. Like, these are Sandor Martin was a tough test as well. But my point is, this is how you get better. And this is why it frustrates me that guys won't take tough fights until they're 25-0 sometimes. And he's talking about Shakur's lateral movement, talking about how good he is as a boxer. This is, again, win or learn, in my opinion. Not that the stakes don't matter, not that wins and losses don't matter, but how are you ever going to really show your talent level if you aren't competing with the best? And Shakur has the same opportunity. This is Shakur's toughest test, no doubt about it. The Williams-Zepeda fight was a tough test because of the style of fight that Zepeda brings, but Zepeda is not the boxer that Teofimo.
Critics who once questioned his approach started to change their tune, recognizing his resolve and intelligence in the ring. Shakur's ability to stay true to his identity while adjusting in real time shows why he's viewed as one of boxing's most compelling young stars, someone who can thrive under pressure and earn respect from both fans and experts.
You get what I'm saying?
Nah, you know, we gonna always Shakur gonna always be Shakur. The offense that we saw from him in his last fight was just, he knew what he had in front of him. And eventually he knew that he was going to be in a position where he could have his way with the kid who was in the ring. I'm losing his name off the top of my head.
Right, I know you're talking about. But I believe he fought that way because he started hearing all the call of him running. He started saying, you know what, let me stay in the pocket, because he stood in the pocket a lot more than he normally stood in the pocket with that fight. You know what I'm saying?
It took some unnecessary shots.
Huh?
It took unnecessary shots.
Well, okay, right. Mm-hmm. But you see what kind of fan base he got after that too. The doubters started saying, you know what, I'm going to roll with him.
Mikey Garcia weighs in on the upcoming clash between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez, describing it as a major fight fans have been waiting for. While he speaks highly of both athletes, Garcia points out that Lopez's performances can be unpredictable. At his best, Lopez looks like the fighter who outclassed Lomachenko and Josh Taylor, sharp, dominant, and elite, but on other nights he hasn't shown that same level. That inconsistency, Garcia says, is the biggest unknown going into the matchup. He adds that taking on someone like Stevenson is never straightforward, as Shakur's speed, technical precision, and ability to adjust mid-fight present serious problems for any opponent, no matter their size or resume.
Mayweather did his last 10 fights damn near. You know, like,
nah.
Man. What?
Nah, Mayweather wasn't running, bro. Mayweather he was out there putting on master classes. He was
not doing what he was doing when he was pretty boy. He was not bringing it to him. Come on.
Well, them hands was like skeleton hands by then.
Okay. Whatever reason was. I went with the eye test. Man.
So
when you go ahead.
So when it comes to Shakur and Teo, I feel like if it's not if Teo's not fighting someone that's being aggressive, pressing him a little bit, he taps out. And I feel like Shakur is not going to trade the way he did in the last fight because he knows he's going up in weight and Teo has power, obviously. So I believe that this is going to be one of those fights where he kind of fights on the outside, frustrates him a little bit. I expect it to be a fairly boring.
Talking about how Lopez might tackle Stevenson, Garcia points out that Lopez holds a size advantage, having spent more time at this weight and carrying greater physical strength. Leveraging that could allow him to dictate the pace and find openings. However, Stevenson's sharp instincts and ring IQ make the matchup far from easy. Garcia stresses that this fight represents a genuine test for both fighters, a showdown of skill, power, and strategy that could shape their legacies and excite fans around the globe.
Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, big fight coming up pretty soon. What do you think about that matchup?
How you doing, man? Great to see you, brother. Always good to see you, man. Happy New Year, man. You too.
Great matchup, tough fight. I want to see what Teofimo shows up because sometimes it's Teofimo, the great fighter who beat Lomachenko, who beat Taylor. That's a tough Teofimo. But then we've also seen him, in off nights.
Right.
And so that's kind of the only question that I have. Which Teofimo's going to show up.
What do you think he has to do to kind of deal with a guy like Shakur Stevenson? How would you approach a fighter like Shakur Stevenson if you were Teofimo Lopez with the attributes that he has?
I would think Teofimo, being that technically he's a bigger fighter, bigger size. He's been at the weight class.
Mickey Bay breaks down the Stevenson versus Lopez matchup, highlighting the importance of mindset, focus, and genuine passion for the sport. He notes that while someone like Gervonta Tank Davis might capitalize on a brief lapse from Shakur, defeating Lopez is a different challenge. Only a fully prepared fighter could pull it off. Bay points out that Stevenson's dedication sets him apart. He's a true gym rat, always training, staying locked in, and fully aware of his abilities inside the ring.
Shakur Stevenson's so fucking good at what he does. Defense is on point, speed is on point, footwork is on point. And I mean, he's really one of the best skilled fighters out there. So it's hard to say, oh, this is what you gotta do. No, it ain't easy, trust me. But being Teofimo, again, if he's bigger, naturally stronger, then he should try to use that, to his advantage.
Bay explains that Stevenson's high level of commitment makes him a tough opponent. Drawing a parallel to how Canelo faced a focused Terence Crawford, he notes that Lopez can be unpredictable on big nights. Yet, Shakur's passion for boxing and mental preparation give him a clear advantage. Bay describes Stevenson as a fighter who knows exactly who he is in the ring, fully confident in his skills and always ready to seize the right moment.
Oh, nah, unless Tank, if Shakur get dropped once or twice and he still get up and win, maybe, but nah, if Shakur win this fight against Teo, I don't see it happening. I would love for it to happen, Tank got the talent. I mean, that's a good fight to me. I always looked at it like at least close to a 50-50 fight outside of his, Shakur just seemed more locked in and more focused than him. Tank just seemed like I don't know, it don't seem like he loved the game right now. So he just got to get his love back for the sport. Even if it ain't the love, because a lot of people could do it without loving the sport. But fighting a dude like Shakur, you got to be locked in, because Shakur is locked in. Like he more locked in than your top.
While the fight could be competitive, particularly in the opening rounds, Shakur Stevenson's discipline, focus, and passion for boxing position him as the favorite. Bay emphasizes that mindset, preparation, and genuine love for the sport are what separate champions from the rest. Robert Garcia also weighs in on the highly anticipated Stevenson versus Lopez matchup, praising the talent and skill both fighters bring to the ring. He notes Lopez's standout performances and notable victories, while highlighting that Shakur is already a 3-division champion striving for a 4th title, a remarkable feat at such a young age.
Even the top, like 99%, he in that small percentage of fighters that just love the sport, and he always in the gym. It's hard to beat a dude like that. That's why it was hard for Canelo to beat Terence. As good as Canelo is and as bigger as he is, Terence locked in. He a gym rat. Shakur's a gym rat. So that's kind of why I give him the edge over Teofimo. It's a good fight. Teo is like a wild card. You don't know what you're going to get, but he do step up in them top fights.
Garcia emphasizes that this fight will test more than just skill. It will challenge heart, focus, and determination. He believes the winner will be the fighter who executes the smarter game plan, avoids mistakes, and seizes opportunities, rather than relying solely on power or aggression. While the action may not be non-stop, every punch will matter, keeping fans on the edge of their seats to see who lands the decisive shots. Garcia also points out that both Stevenson and Lopez are in their prime, not waiting for the later stages of their careers, which makes this matchup especially compelling. He highlights that fights like this exemplify what boxing is all about: skill, strategy, heart, and timing. Fans will recognize and appreciate the clash because it features 2 elite athletes performing at the peak of their abilities. Garcia also touches on the role of trash talk in boxing, noting that it sometimes reflects insecurity. He references fighters like Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, and Claressa Shields, explaining that despite their elite skills, some critics question their knockout power.
2 guys that represent New York and New Jersey respectively, Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson getting together. What do you think about that matchup?
That's a great matchup, man. Both fighters are great fighters, very talented. Teofimo has had some great performances, great wins. Shakur is also a 3-division champion going for his 4th. Unbelievable talent. It's a fight where we're going to see talent from both, but we also have to see heart, that who has that heart to become.
Ultimately, this fight goes beyond size, titles, or flashy moments. It's a clash of mindsets. Everyone we've heard from agrees on one thing: true champions are built through preparation, courage, and the willingness to take risks. Lopez brings physical strength, movement, and high potential, while Stevenson offers discipline, sharp ring intelligence, and a composed confidence developed through relentless training. It's the contrast between these styles that makes the matchup so compelling.
I think that fight's going to be more about who's smarter, who plays the better cards, and who doesn't make mistakes. Because it's going to be one of those fights where we might not have too much action, but we're all going to be standing up because we want to see who's going to land and who's going to be the one that finds those punches to land. It's a very interesting fight, and they're both in their prime. They're both, that's what boxing is about. We're not Ortiz, Boots, Teofimo, Shakur. They're not waiting till they're 37, 38 to fight each other.
In many ways, this fight is as much a chess match as it is a battle in the ring. One fighter brings power and angle creation, while the other relies on precision, adaptability, and perfect timing. A single well-timed punch, a momentary lapse, or a shift in momentum could decide the outcome, more so than in a one-sided fight. Multiple analysts have noted that the fighter who stays sharp and minimizes mistakes will likely come out on top. That wraps up today's breakdown.
You look at what do these fighters have in common? Some people say they don't have a strong punch. So, again, I understand showmanship, I understand trash talk, but you don't want to be the boy who cried wolf. That's the point I'm making. You don't want to be the boy who cried wolf. And I feel like with Shakur, we hear it all the time. Even Devin and Clarissa, the other examples that I gave, we do hear this where it's like, I'm gonna knock you out, I'm gonna punish you, I'm gonna stop you. Devin Haney even made a bet with Ryan Garcia telling him he needs to retire in a bet, if I knock you out in the first round, you have to retire.
That's a wrap for today's breakdown. Be sure to stay tuned for the next update. Thanks for watching.